Hello, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alana, and you are watching The Alana Star Show. The Alana Star Show. Okay, so today's video, I am here because I want to talk to you about why acting. Why would I want to pursue acting? What would make me want to become an actress? Okay, so I want to do like a storyline of my entertainment career, and I want to um, show pictures, maybe, just maybe some videos um, of my journey from when I was in school, when I was in fine arts, when I started getting in front of people. I started getting in front of people at a very young age. Although anybody that knows me personally knows that I'm very, very shy. So, people are surprised, or some people are surprised that don't know that I was in the School of Performing Arts, that I'm pursuing acting. So, some people would say, well, why would you want to go into theater, acting, arts? And the one thing that I can say is that I believe for me, acting has always been an outlet, and it has always been something that I enjoy because I like to become different characters. I like to become different people, and I like to um, tell stories through the lenses of others, because we all go through things in our lives, and um, there's things that are, I can maybe say, somewhat relatable. Like, okay, I went through something like that too. And so when you are watching a movie, it's like, I can really relate to her, or I can really feel or see, or I can kind of get a perspective of somebody else's life. Because this is the one thing about me, I don't really like to force feed my beliefs or my perspective on others. Like, some people may not see things the same way that I see them because they had a completely different walk in life. So they may have an experience that I may never have, or I may have an experience that they may never have, because I wasn't able to identify with that culture or that group of people, or I may not see things through the lenses of them. And so, unless it's things that we all know is wrong, like we all know that rape is wrong, we all know that domestic violence is wrong, we all know that stealing is wrong, we all know that, that certain acts, killing is wrong. We know that certain acts are just wrong. But but this is the thing. I like to I like to hear stories or things of other people. Just like I've been reading this book called The Pursuit of Portia. And this book basically just talks about her life, her journey, things that she's gone through. There's a lot of things in this book that many women around the world or around America that can identify with our culture, especially Black American women, can relate to some of the things that she maybe went through. It's not something that's taboo or foreign that she went through that experience. And it's just like there's a lot of different perspectives, stories, cultures, backgrounds, and there's a lot of things that need to be told, and it needs to be told through the lenses of those people. And so that's what my passion is to hear more than just one story, one perspective, um, but to listen to the voices of other people that may have those experiences. And the one thing that I don't like about some movies or shows is that they can be stereotypical, um, to how you think or how certain people view certain people. And so I like when there's shows out that actually are realistic. Like this is realistic to, what people are really dealing with, how people really think, and what people are really going through. And so I'm a person where I don't like to really force my perspectives or my beliefs on other people, but I like to share and I like to give people something to think about or something to consider. A lot of people just, they're selfish because they're in their own world and they don't have the consideration of how other people feel. And I would like to use my platform to shed light on other people's thoughts, perspectives, how they may feel, how they may view things that other people may not have ever thought of things that way or seen things that way. And it gives you the chance to not be stereotypical and you get a chance to learn different people because everybody is different. Everybody that's black is not all the same. Everybody that's white is not all the same. Everybody that's Asian is not all the same. Everybody that's Mexican, Latin, or Puerto Rican is not all the same. So you get to learn the different types of people that are out there, the different mindsets, the different motives, maybe even ambition. Because somebody's story could be completely different than the next person's story. And so life, I feel like, is all about learning because doing a role, you may have learned something about someone that you never would have thought. Like sometimes I can relate to the character or I can relate to that person because I've had some similar experiences, or I might look at it and say, I can't relate to this at all. Like this has nothing to do with me as a person. Like I can, like, I can look at this character and say that's me. I can feel that because that's something that, of course, I've gone through. Or I might look at the character and say, that perspective is a perspective that I never thought of. So I a lot of times have to break down um, the character in my mind to say, well, I never been through this. I never been through that. I never lived through this. I never lived through that. But maybe some of the experiences that I have had in my life, I can dig up how I would feel or how the pain would feel if I was to experience something like that. So, those are my thoughts. I love a historical, a good old, a good old, a good old, good old, good old, good old, good old historical piece. Like I love movies back in certain eras, and I just find it interesting the evolution of mankind. But back in the days, things just seemed so wholesome and so rich, and the people were just different. So, but I do like the era of the 1950s and the 1920s, the 1930s, the culture, I just find it interesting, especially black culture back in those times. And even I love their creativity because they didn't have social media, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have like they could freely work on their singing, freely work on their dancing, freely work on their craft because they didn't have so much distraction. Like nowadays, you can do things, but you have to be a lot more disciplined, I feel, than they were back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, because 80s, 90s even, because they didn't have social media. like you spent a lot of your time working on your craft, working on your singing, working on your dancing, working on your acting, working on your medical school, or working on your studies. Like you didn't have time to really be distracted by the internet, or be distracted by social media, or be distracted by what you see people doing on the internet, because you focused on you and you focused on your life. You didn't have a lot of people there to, you know, now I got to try to keep up with such and so, or I have to try to impress certain people online, or have a certain image of myself online, because you was out here living it and doing it. You didn't have, all these different media distractions. Like they were really good because that's all they put their time, effort, energy into, was just their art. They didn't have time to get on the internet and worry about what other people are doing on the internet, because they spent the time focusing on themselves and focusing on their skills and what they can bring and what they can do. And so, even with myself, I try to refrain from the internet, because it's a huge and a big time distraction, when I could be focusing my time on doing something that's going to pay off in the long run. But the reason why I'm doing acting is because I love to tell stories. I love to learn, listen to perspectives, scenarios, different emotions, different things that different people may be going through, and it spreads an awareness. And it spreads an awareness to people that may never experience those things, may never know what it's like to be in that person's life. They never lived that. They never had to go through those things, and they may never have to go through those certain things. But it's like I have a glimpse of what that person may really be dealing with in life. um, and some movies are pretty intense. Like it's deep. Some things are fictional, and it's like, oh, this is just a movie. Um, and that's not really real to what the reality would be if this was to really happen, or this is just for entertainment purposes. But when we talking about, um, you know, acting and things like that, it's there's some pretty heavy and some pretty deep conversations behind certain things and certain problems that we have. And so I wrote some poems. I wrote some skits. I was doing a series with some people, and I had done a lot of writing. I did plays, I did some scenes, and I did some actual poems for this thing. And so I told myself I'm going to get more and more into my poem writing and poem things to do here on YouTube. Maybe even some more skits, but we'll see. And so, yes, so I believe that that's why, because I need to use my platform to spread awareness, and I need to be able to reach people, and I need people to understand. I need the world to understand. I have messages that I have to send, and I know it. And I know that that's what God is called for me to do, is to spread awareness and spread message, because there's a need for it. So that's why acting is so important, and that's why theater, and because even when I've done theater, um, there's a lot that I've learned about different um, people in different eras. even different black people, from black people in Europe, Africa, different parts of the world and different cultures. That's why I'm learning language. So by the end of the year, I want to be fluent in Spanish. There's a lot of black people that speak Spanish. I want to be fluent in French. There's a lot of black people that study and know French. And I want to know Italian as well. So, I'll be continuing my journey in language. But yes, it's some pretty heavy and deep things. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel to keep me coming back and creating more content here. And when you want to see me dress up and come on as different characters. So don't forget to like my video and make sure you subscribe.